Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today, I'm back up once again by Jake and Adam.
What's going on, y'all?
Keyboard trolls, come on at me.
Today's matchup is me versus Adam. I'm finally playing the trio of Saiyans, which is Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Adam is playing Blue Zamasu, which likes your opponent to be at 8 life. But you play it slightly different to that, I think.
Yeah, lots of people know that at 8 energy, I am able to basically put 4 of your life into your deck, and so they play around it. So I try to be a little bit more aggressive and try to get you down to 0 life another way.
So that being said, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click up the different reasons. But let's get into today's matchup. Trio of Saiyans is something we haven't had in the channel yet, and I still don't know how I feel about the deck entirely. It's kind of like a mismatch of best the best I described it talking to Jake about it was Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku Spaceship kind of put together. Like it has the 1-drops that can do stuff, either draw you a card or search for a card, and then the evolves, which draw you another card. The leader has the ability to kind of like pitch a Saiyan to draw 2 cards, and then you play the Vegeta to kind of cycle some of those Saiyans back for yourself, or you use the big 8-drop Goku to put those Saiyans underneath it for its effects. So I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I enjoyed Android 13.
Yeah, Android 13 overall just kind of seemed like a more smooth deck to pilot.
You get to cycle through your deck like a mother. I mean, that was really nice to see that on the channel, the Android 13. But
yeah,
how archetype heavy is this deck for you, Bancroft?
So the majority of the engine, between the 1-drops and 3-drops, and then I think with the 4-drops and the 8-drop Goku, I think it was about 27, 30 cards, I think. And then the rest of it's kind of like, I added a couple of the Piccolos, I added a couple of these Gotens to just either good red cards or cards that can actually still work with the engine. Because like Piccolo, when one of your, I think, 3 Goku, Vegeta, Trunks with energy cost, I think 3 with the EX evolve skill is removed from your battle area. I think it's for just removed from battle area. You can pay 1 energy to play it, and that's a 20k on your opponent's board. Has barrier, and initially I think it has like dual attack blocker. So it's just another way of kind of like protecting myself if I block with the Trunks and the Trunks dies, it's removed from the battle area. So I just pay 1 energy to play it afterwards. And I kind of noticed it also with Android 13. Like I feel like a lot of the red cards this set, when it comes to negates, you have some QT negates this set, but none of them were really I think strong. But that's like an alternative negate in a sense. Like it can potentially stop 2 additional attacks for 1 energy. I forgot that you played the Unison, and I primarily put the Smoke Dragons into my deck as a way of getting rid of your Zamasus when you start kind of putting them on the board, trying to get them ready to do the fusion and whatnot in a later turn. But as soon as I saw you kind of taking advantage of the rearranging the top 3 cards, I'm like, I can't let you have that.
But he's just a little 1-drop Unison. It's not a big deal.
Being able to rearrange the top 3 cards of your deck can change the game dramatically. Like I think that's why Invoker was so good for it still is good to a degree, but just being able to kind of just see what's up there, see what you like. And for example, for that deck, you could literally put the worst card on place 3, and as long as you don't draw 3 cards, your next turn you're just re-putting that one even further down, and you're only grabbing the 2 you think are more important of those 3.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more looking at the top 5 in this particular deck, just because with the leader, I look at the top 5 for a Zamasu or a Goku Black when I swing. The main reason for that Yellow Unison is for that the Rose Goku that's on the board now, which lets me ramp the top card. I hate getting anything with energy exhaust on that ramp, so I try to arrange it so that I know what's going into my energy when I play that card. And this was an interesting match because you decided very early that you were going to stop charging very quick. And so my awakening condition is when you're at 3 energy. So by staying at 2 and forcing, the top card to be looked at to possibly ramp to 3 was a smart move.
Well, before going further, I'm gonna do my best to clear out a lot of the excess noise in the background. My nephew and niece are upstairs having fun. There's no school this week, so they're up a little bit earlier. I'll do my best to knock that out. If it gets a little mangled too much, I do apologize for that. So the deck itself can run very efficiently with 1 or 2 energy per turn without having to go too much, because the leader can free play a card from your drop in rest mode with its skills and get, and then you just evolve on top of that card, and that card's good to stay. So I felt like I was able to do that on that first initial turn, and I think I also do that on the next turn as well, forgetting that you didn't play one. But we'll see to double check in a second. And I was like, huh, well. But it did benefit me, like you couldn't awaken and benefit on your awaken during my turn.
Yeah, sometimes you'd rather hold the awaken for your own turn, just like depending on the leader or the strategy, but sometimes having access to it defensively is just like what you need rather than spending additional cards out of your hand and effectively turning that off just by modulating your own gameplay. Like you don't really like lose any advantage or anything. I guess you kind of lose the energy advantage, but it's an interesting thing that you can effectively interact with his gameplay in without playing a card.
Yeah. So I think, did you just choose the Goku primarily because of the minus effect of him, or because Trunks has blocker? I just wasn't sure what the mindset of like this had to be in rest mode.
No, yeah, I just I thought that maybe that could go into something even bigger. So I thought that I'd take that out because I was afraid of something even bigger coming up before I could get my tragedy overground out.
And I will say, like on that previous turn, I had to choose what I tried to play first, just because you do have a Zamasu in your hand, and I think I even try to like either try to proc it ahead of time or just tiptoe around it as much as I possibly can until you play it.
Yeah, and I also have the Vegeta
Yeah.
counterplay, which is nice too.
Was not expecting that at all. These one drop Gokus I feel like is actually really good. For 1 energy, it's a cantrip pretty much, but not just that. It using the leader's ability to kind of play a 1-drop from the drop area and then pay 1 for that can initially just proc the effect for me for the bond and just making it 25k afterwards. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And I do play this deck. I think currently it's 55 cards, but I feel like it draws enough where it feels viable. And here's you're about to play the Zamasu. No, you play Vegeta, okay. We fixed it second. It's activate battle. Sorry, it's auto when this card swings, so you don't lose the out on your card just yet.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
A really solid play.
No, he definitely saved that blocker, because all I have to do is declare an attack, and then my auto will proc before he can block with it, and I can just neg it out, so that way it wouldn't be a problem afterwards. But yeah, you do really well on this turn trying to counter my stuff, and here I'm like, all right, cool to go. And you're like, all right, cool. Bottom deck, and you like tap the card. I'm like, oh, it's already in rest mode actually.
Yeah, the turn before this, I passed with a unison and 1 energy expended on the turn. I could have done more, but I was like, there's something coming. And being unfamiliar with the deck, I tend to play more conservatively anyway, but definitely in that turn, I decided to be a little bit, pump the brakes a little bit.
And this Goku will go to the drop in a second. I think I catch it fairly early into your turn. I'm like, oh yeah, this is Blanc here. Yeah, right there it is.
Yeah.
Like I love the ability, because like you can see right there, like my hand, like I have a really good hand. Like every card I play so far has either drawn me a card, or I've been able to like search for a card, and the leader ability to discard a Saiyan and draw cards has been very helpful as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do play a 2-2 split of the Kefla and the Zamasu super combos. I've found that they They kind of complement each other. You can rest something with the Zamasu, and then with the Kefla, you can actually KO it at the end of the battle. It doesn't have barrier, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a really powerful effect if you're not expecting it. I know the first time it got played on me, I was like, really? I thought this was like 4 drops or less or something, and it's literally anything as long as it doesn't have barrier.
Right.
As far as battle cards go, that is. Really strong against the Rush Attack Vegetas of the world.
So here, I'm choosing not to block with the Trunks as much as possible, just because I want to keep one of the 3 drops alive to use like the activate mains on the Goku Vegetas. If I wanted to play them, I could play them. And there was part of me that felt comfortable in the moment, and then you played this Rose. I'm like, okay, well, there goes that free block, whatever. I still have the tokens still to go, and you are going up into the 9-drop. And from here, my entire game plan has to change a bit because I can no longer play 4 more cards, and we talked about this, right? I think it specifies the energy cost, right, for moving to the energy. Oh, you haven't activated it yet. Never mind. That's right.
I haven't activated it. No,
Yeah, you're activating it now.
Yeah, well, you have a clear board anyway, so nothing would get moved.
So now with strategy on Overground on the board, now I have to play a little bit differently. And that means no 4-drops. That means no 8-drops. And my secret rare is currently now dead as well, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That single turn, you were able to clear the board, take a life lead, and damage in there.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I probably would have wanted a beefier board to use that Tragedy Overground so I could get some more energy into your energy area. But I couldn't wait anymore. I knew that there were things that you were going to be able to play and just wipe me out. So I had to get that Tragedy Overground out.
And this Z leader is one of those ones that only Z awakens when you're at 3 or less life. So being at 3 is actually okay for me. The problem with this Z leader is that I have to at the end of my turn, if I recall correctly, it goes away. So I prefer to kind of like Z awaken through my opponent's turn, and then on my turn play the Senshin run. But yeah, having a red Saiyan leader comes in quite nicely when you try to activate Dimension Magic, but following up with a hatch kind of ends my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I don't think I talked over, and there I for the leader's auto, I discarded a red Saiyan, so I discarded my secret rare because I couldn't play it.
The disrespect on the Vegeta, I think it's never going to play well for you ever again. It holds grudges.
I don't think I've played it yet, so we'll see what happens.
Yikes.
So I actually haven't gone too much into all the EX Evolve cards, for those who aren't familiar. The Goku on attack will negative card up by 15. All of them, if you play them using the EX Evolve skill, will draw you a card. Trunks auto, if you turn to restand it, so initially you attack with it, then you get to block with it afterwards. And the Vegeta on play, if I recall correctly, will bring back another Goku Vegeta or Trunks with an EX Evolve skill, which costs 3 back to your hand. So it kind of helps you cycle things back to you. And I do play Vegeta the least amount, actually, just because of it doesn't actually draw me a card. It only kind of cycle things back, so I don't want to see it too often.
Yeah.
And here, you just established a board, and you keep on doing it. And part of me is okay with that, because since I'm playing red, I have options for big boards like that.
Yeah.
And here we're talking about the, she gets a permanent, which gives her a 10k boost. And you were just asking, like, what is that going to affect? And it's like, it's always an effect. So even though I just negative by 10, it's still alive because of its permanent.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that, yellow isn't really used a whole lot in the deck other than the arrival and when I'm playing the other big Zamasu card, the Union Fusion. So I wanted to find another option for using my yellow energy. I think that Krillin's a great card. It's a 1/1 blocker that gets Android 18 able to play for 1. and she's a 20K crit with him on the board. So it's just a little something I put in there, and I like having blockers because you don't want to take damage when you're at 2 life.
I will say you play that card, and I was like, wait, what?
Why?
And I was so confused. I was like, okay, just for the blocker part, I guess. Then you're like 18. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So here, Hatch is
they're my favorite couple in Dragon Ball, so I gotta rep.
Hatch is coming
the love.
Yeah, Hatch is coming at 35. So here I'm just kind of coming out of the attack because I don't want to get hit with a double strike. So I'm trying to be careful how I play this turnout. And here she goes down to 25, and Wolfang puts her down 10k. So if you even want to get damage out, you hit the combo card. And I think you only have like 1 or 2 cards in your hand right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he forced a decent amount of cards out of his hand there. Maybe you would have liked to see a couple more, but you've got some energy still up and a blocker active. So I think this is a very solid pressure turn overall. And here, I'm assuming Oolong's copying the Baby Hatch.
He is,
correct,
which puts him actually at 35 because Baby Hatch is for the turn. The -5 is for a turn. So this initially Oolong's only at 30. And
because of King Vegeta's imposing presence, still a strong swing for the energy investment.
Oh, most definitely.
And if this connects here, he puts you in Champa range, which means you have to respect every attack from here on out for the rest of the game.
Correct. So I do testing it to go down to 2 life, but now I have a blocker on board for any additional attacks if he wants to make. And
now the Zamasu does have the once per turn that I could pay 1 and send any card back to your hand. So that's been really helpful with all these blocker negates, just getting that blocker out of the way.
No, that definitely helped you out a lot in that moment because now I'm like open to an attack. Like Jake said, if you have Champa, and I still have a decent hand. So if I feel okay in this moment, but you do have 2 cards. You do have cards you could initially combo with, but I think you just passed turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I only have 2, maybe 2 cards in hand. And I thought I did a pretty good job, clearing your board, keeping anything really big from getting out, possibly, your double strikers or anything like that, dual attackers, and hoping that the 2 blockers are at least going to give me a fighting chance.
Yeah. So here, I play the Trunks, and then we'll follow up with another card, and this would be just really trying to fish out of your hand. Like, do you have something? And then I thought Overground was 4 or less could be played for some reason, and you let me kind of take that 1-drop play back, or that 1 cost play back. But I'm still trying to play a card to just see if you have a counterplay in hand, to see if, like, are you willing to expend that. And here I'm just testing again. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll activate the main on this card to play this card, and you're like, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, okay, interesting. And so I swing with it. You do negate, but I KO your blocker, so it's not problematic. And then I follow up with the Gohan Rare, which you have enough targets on board for me to select to give it a 10k plus and double strike.
Yeah. The amount of cards that Red is able to play for little to no energy is obscene.
Yeah.
In my opinion, just in any of the Red decks. So yeah, at that point in time, getting rid of my blockers, I put up a good fight, but just it wasn't enough to get over Red.
With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind, just buttons down below. Feel free to click up there for a reason. And yeah, there's links as well. Don't forget about those. Jake, lead us out.
Remember to read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and fluff out.